Hi, you're with Alex and Reese, and we're with Adam Piper from Piper Avenue Buyers Agency.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we thought that we'd touch base because we've done up a bit of a brochure, which we just wanted to sort of let everyone know that we've got that as well. So that's just with some information about what's happening, a little bit more fact-based. We're noticing that a lot of our clients are a little bit scared by media and the things that they're seeing. And obviously, I think we've all learned that they do have a bit of an agenda and to glorify and scare people with these
fear-mongering in the market, in the media, right?
Yeah, so we thought we definitely had to have you out and maybe get some actual real facts from you and some better understanding on what is happening in the market. So
I think you know, as we always do, you guys talk from the seller side, I always talk from that buyer side. I think what's happened in the space right now is the fear-mongering is pretty high, which isn't anyone's fault. It's what reporters do. It's how they get clickbait. It's how it all works. The reality is all prices are higher, right? So that's not a great thing overall. But I think from property investing side of things, it's actually a really good thing for us. So when you see a bear market, we have less competition to compete with because everyone's scared. It's like COVID, nothing really changed. It just actually went up after. But let's talk into why it goes up. There's a cycle that actually last time we were on here, I spoke to you guys about inflation. Yeah. You remember inflation eats my debt? Yeah. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. We're going through one of the biggest inflation events we've had in a very long time. And I'm loving it. Okay. Not loving it, but you get what I mean. Yeah. For my property portfolio. Yeah. Now, and how this all works is all prices go up, okay? And that creates inflation across everything. People think oil is just in fuel. Oil is in everything. It's in the transport to move your groceries from A to B, it's in the chemicals and compounds, it's in processing, it's in building products, it's in everything, whether it's producing them, transporting them, or the actual end product. So when inflation goes up, everything goes up. And when everything goes up, that's called inflation. When inflation goes up, building costs go up. Okay, so when building costs go up, the replacement value is now higher. Also, something that happens during inflationary periods is the interest rates go up to try to slow down inflation. So building is more expensive, money is more expensive in general, which means supply declines significantly because the feasibilities for builders just doesn't stack up like it did before, which we are already in a massively undersupplied market. Yeah. All right. Now, with this adding on to that, that's going to make that problem worse because a lot of strong developers, they'll just hold. They won't go and build now. They'll wait till money's cheaper, they'll wait to the other side of it, and then they'll proceed with it. So I can see that continuing for quite a while, which for a buyer is very good. I think the market for sellers is also a good time. It's knocked out all of the dreamers. Like if you were putting your market up and wanted an unrealistic price, the random punter would do it a little while ago. But now I'm still seeing the same amount of properties transacting, seeing very good prices for those properties as well. It's just say you had 10 people in an open home before, now you might have 6, but you're still getting 4 very solid offers. Just the dreamer prices. So if you are going to sell and you're very realistic and fair about your price, you have no problem, I don't believe, getting that number.
And you're very right with that too.
You seen it?
Oh, 100%.
I think every single seller that we've had has had quite high expectations, and sometimes it's because they've had other agents come out. Yeah. And I think
sell them on the hopes and dreams and not give them the actual basics facts.
The problem with that, they're not validated either. No. It's like I can say to you that seat's worth $2 million. But okay, we'll pay $2 million. I'm not paying $2 million for it.
Yeah. I think the problem is those sellers don't know the difference between that. They just have an agent in front of them. And let's be honest, all agents, we're good at talking. Otherwise we wouldn't be agents, you know, and the ones that aren't good aren't agents anymore. So we all know how to string a sentence together. We all know how to have a conversation with someone to get them to come to market if they're sort of on the fence or whatever. We try to give them as much facts as we can as to why we think it's a benefit. There are times, we went into one yesterday where we said, look, we actually don't think it's best for you as much as we'd love to sell it. we think you need to sell later and get an investment. You know, that was our conversation, but not all agents would do that.
Yeah.
And we're just finding that they're going in saying it, and it's hard for a seller, and I understand it. You hear someone that's meant to be in that field tell you it's worth $2 million for the chair, and you go, wow. And you hear that amount and you're like, well, they know what they're talking about. And then you have another agent come in and go, well, this is what it's actually, these are the comparables around you. It's 1.6.
These are what the other chairs are sold for.
They don't necessarily go, oh, well, I'm going to trust the person that's telling me they've all sold 1.6 around it. They're going to go, well, maybe that agent was better that told them the 2 mil.
I'm dealing with one right now. The agent's talking to the higher sales in the area for superior properties. And, you know, she believes that the sellers are just like, no, that's our number. We don't want to hear about what's wrong with the property. That's our number. And I'm like, well, it failed at auction. It failed in a secondary contract after that. The market's telling you where it sits at, and those owners, they've already moved out of it, which is crazy. Like,
so it's just sitting there.
Just dead money sitting there. But they've got to emotionally break from what they've been told and sold. And the agent's still stuck on that too. And I was like, you've got 2 comparables that say this, which are overshooting it. And I've got 7 that say this. I'm not offering you like even under that. I'm just offering you fair market value, which is what my buyer wants to pay.
Yeah.
And still not in that
just
location.
nothing. No.
But with those agents, it's the hit a high price and then you get beat down. You know, I've got this offer and it's less and it's less. The reality is, like, it's sort of wasting both parties' time.
100%.
A lot of
it's huge. Yeah, they spend the 3 months of their contract just pulling them down. And I mean, I'm a buyer at the moment as well. So it's really just, it reminds you as an agent what you have to go through as a buyer. And I really feel for people because I'm doing it now. And the amount of inquiries that I've had where I've looked on the back end, I've done the comparables and they're telling me 200K more. And I'm just writing back, cool, I'll see you in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first viewing I do when you've knocked them down in price. One of them the other day was 1.3 on the back end, and I called it and see that was a newer agent, so probably just didn't understand, got it. It's in a flood zone. She wanted 2.1 mil unrenovated, been held since it was worth $79,000.
In
Yeah.
Logan? Yeah.
In Logan.
I've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah, and I was like,
Crazy.
I tried not to scoff at her because I could tell she was very new, and I went, okay, thanks so much. I'll think about that one. But I thought, wow, that's never selling.
And for agents too, like if you've got a seller with unrealistic price expectations, you're wasting your time.
Exactly.
You're not going to pay on results.
It's free. It's free work. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we've experienced that.
Yeah.
So
we're literally doing that right now. So it happens, you know, sometimes even if you give them the facts, they go, well, we'll give you a shot, but this is what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not stupid. We're going to go, we'll give it a go and hope when they see it on paper, we're still going to aim for a premium result. They might be happy, you know.
The one you're referring to though, I know that one, you've got multiple at a range. That's not like, we've got one here. You've actually got multiple, and they all don't know what each other's prices are. That are all determining the price point.
That's
and again, like when we spoke last time, that first run of getting the offers, it tells you the range pretty quickly. You might have this random outlier, but you've got to transact in the space or decide quickly, I'm going to get off.
100%.
You know,
Definitely.
I think it's quite silly.
If you get a buyer's agent as well in those offers, that really, I always use that as, okay, this is clearly where the market value is, because they're not emotionally buying.
Yeah.
Like that's their point is they've done the work. They know what it's worth. They know what they can go to, but they're not going to go, no buyer's agent's going to go 100K over for an emotional buy. They don't do that. That's right.
Yeah.
So
and the way we do valuations too, like, you know, comparing the block size, the placement of the house, the condition of the house, is it, you know, higher on a hill? Is it lower? There's so many ways for us to determine a value. And then on top of that, there is that emotional piece to it, like whatever range is determined for that area. And you can also see in the pricing gap in the area what that range typically is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's actually a good time for sellers right now who want to upsize or downsize. I actually, if you were considering it, I would be selling now if you wanted to do one or the other.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because for downsizers, when you decide you do want to downsize, if you're able to move in the market fairly fluently. You can get out of yours for a very respectable price, and you can get into another one for a respectable price. You've got the win on both sides. Same with upsizes, because it's not going to get cheaper.
No.
Right,
It's just going to progressively get worse.
Yeah,
worse,
and-
but it's expensive.
More expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're going either way, now would be the time I'd be doing it, because the market is still. It's actually the oil price changes to the world. We've seen this in our other businesses. Everyone just freezes for 3-4 weeks, and those who understand it, like you look back through history, how those markets move. In probably 4 weeks, people went, "Oh, the world's still going. We've got to get on with the show." Like, the world hasn't crashed.
No.
And then in those 4 weeks, we were just buying up. And when the market moved away and there was less competition, I was like, bang, I've got way more room to negotiate now.
Right. So business owners at this point, them spending their money on stuff, what are they doing with that?
So if you're a business owner right now, it's quite wise for you to look at transitioning your business income into assets and property. And the reason why is businesses make you money. There's a great saying, businesses make you money, assets keep you money, and keep that going longer into life. So there's a lot of business owners that, want to step away from their business. They feel locked to their business. They haven't paid themselves super for many years. And they're just sitting in that feeling where they're like, how do I actually get away from this in the future? Like, they were good at that one thing and they did it and they've done very well and the business is now going really well, but now they're locked to it. Like, a lot of people start businesses to have freedom, right? And then they actually have less freedom. So we help a lot of buyers who are effectively business owners mainly. Like, that's actually a really big part of our business is business owners. And we help them transition those property profits into assets that will keep paying them whether they rock up to work or not. Because there has to be a time where you go, hey, I can acknowledge I don't have a plan for what happens after this. And that's a really important thing for a business owner to take, because they can't keep doing this forever. Like, the pressure of running a business is like nothing else. And you want to have the option to step away one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Another key reason why business owners should be transitioning their money and their retained earnings into property is because during the inflationary period, cash is devaluing. The currency is getting debased. And at some stage there will be stimulus, and it is effectively watering down the value of our money. And the simplest way for me to explain that to a person is 4 years ago or 5 years ago, you were paying $3 for a meat pie. Now you're paying $7.50. There is no supply chain problem on meat pies. There's nothing. We can just make more if we want to. It's not a supply demand problem. It is the fact that the base cost of the materials is now more expensive.
I was talking about this like literally yesterday, didn't I? I said, like, my mum still whinges about prices and the difference, because she said I used to buy like a family chips, hot chips at the fish and chip shop for 20 cents. And like, that's her argument to things. And she still does it randomly for literally anything. Like, she goes to buy a t-shirt and she's like, oh, $10. And you're like, yeah, that's cheap. And she's like, no, it's not, because she's still, a large part of her lives in that world. But as I said to Reese, I said, but look at what they were buying property for. Like $79,000 for a $2 million property.
$25,000.
Yeah.
There was one actually that transacted in Birkdale recently, and he had bought it for $25,000 back in the 70s. And so that was, there was no capital gains on that either. And that's been an investment property forever, but when he bought it, there was no CGT. So that property is 2 mil, 2.2, completely CGT free.
Wow.
But that main point around what is inflation, like, a lot of people are hearing this word and they don't really understand what that means. The simplest way is a meat pie was $3.50 and now it's $7.50. So your money now buys less. Okay? That is where, if you're holding cash in a bank account and it's not really getting much of a return, or you're a business owner that's holding retained earnings, if you don't attach that to an asset that moves with inflation instead of gets hit by inflation, your money is becoming more worthless as that proceeds. So that's one thing I'm seeing very smart investors and everyday buyers as well, but mainly business owners. We're transitioning those retained earnings, we're putting those into properties. That way, in the future too, as they come to retirement, they could probably sell off the business asset, right? They could actually do an exit on that company, and then they can live off that income from those properties, and that is what will sustain their retirement into the future. Because a lot of them didn't do super.
What have you noticed about, like, because obviously July 1, they're bringing in the new CGT tax laws and stuff and all of that. what's the go with investors? Because obviously, if they sell after that point, they're going to be taxed 100% if it gets brought in. Obviously,
Yeah, well, it's not going to be taxed. No one knows yet, right? It's some 33% discounts, and it's none.
Food,
It's to be abolished, negative gearing changes.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. The rules are changing. I'm just going to maximize that. Like, I won't say it how we're doing it, but we've already got our workarounds to do that. There's different structures that are more suitable for that.
sweet.
Which were things we were wanting to move towards, and some of our buyers did already do it.
Yep.
But there's another structure that we're doing that is
Sure.
like, well, this is a net position of equally, if not better than that, and we can hold that long term and do more. So that's very
interesting.
effective to business owners more than anyone.
When it
So
first
there is
came out,
ways
though,
around it.
were your clients real stressed out, or when it first
I
got
wouldn't say
announced?
stressed out. I think I don't think it fixes the problem it's there to do. I just hate why this government was voted in. I'm still yet to meet a person that admits to voting for
Thank you
them,
very
but they-
much. Who
So
the hell
true.
ever voted
Who
for
Yeah.
me?
voted for these
Swear to
guys?
God.
Yeah.
Like, seriously,
Oh yeah.
it was like a whitewash
Yeah,
well, no,
election,
I
but I'm
actually
still yet to
know
meet someone that
why.
actually voted for
Well,
them.
I know why, and this is purely, and I don't know specifically if this was this political one and when this happened, but so for instance, I know someone, and I won't name names, but they're within my family, and they work for a government body, and they were specifically basically fear-mongered in, and they don't realize how much they actually do this.
Yeah.
And anyone that works for a government body will fearmonger them in if their agenda works for that particular company.
Is it cutting private public sector or not?
Yeah, like that kind of thing. So they're
Yeah.
all told, you better do it. Like,
Yeah.
you better vote for these people.
I hear
And
that a
then
lot,
when
yeah.
I was asking, like, who are we voting? You know, particularly if you don't follow it or you're a young guy and you're like, oh, I'm just following, you
Yeah.
know, you just vote for whoever they've said, and it just trickles down. But you don't realize how big that is when you think of government sectors and things like
well, that's
that.
right. Because you asked me who do we vote for, and I said what I was going to vote for. Because
Yeah.
I'm young, and I'm very much into politics because it definitely outlines on what's happening in the future.
Yeah.
And like, I obviously read up on it a lot, and I listen to it. And then Alex like, who do we vote
I honestly
for?
wasn't. I was like, stick my head in the sand.
Oh
Like,
my,
I
you
don't
know,
care. They
like-
all suck.
I come from a family of like small business.
Mm.
And when I say small, like dad owned his own mechanic workshop a very long time. My grandfather owned news agencies.
Yeah.
But I think there's a reality with life and with young people. You're left wing until you probably hit around 30, then you realise.
I think so,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I should probably be right wing. These guys actually manage money well.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing, right? And
Yeah.
I love saying that as a joke because, you know, when you're younger and you're the world and you don't realize the world and you're like, no, it's all injustice. And then you realize the way the world actually works.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, why did we vote these guys in? Because spending money like hand over fist, budget blowouts. And unfortunately, the way that it's happening too is like there's so much spending and people need help right now. So anyone who says I'm going to help you more, people naturally go to.
Of course.
But if you look at who to vote for, I go, one guy's going to give me a sugar hit and like just load me up on candy, and another guy's going to put me on a 12-week challenge.
Mhm.
All right, this
way to
feels
look at
way better,
Yeah.
but I know that's better for me long term. And that to me is what left and right wing is in politics right now. Left wing is the sugar hit, and right wing is the 12-week challenge. And long term, that 12-week challenge is the best thing for you in the long run. And we've seen that in politics in Australia time and time again.
So then with the, like, obviously with the interest rates and things like that, you know, we do know that they're coming, as much as we were saying with the media and stuff. I think they just make it sound a lot more terrifying than it is. But, I mean, well, it's not great, but yeah. When you talk about the interest rates and things, I'm noticing a lot of people saying, you know, well, it's only for the certain, you know, this small amount percentage of people that are being affected. It's not going to fix the problem, because the people that are actually pushing up, you know, us needing to put these interest rate hikes in and not being affected at all. Like, what's your take on that?
Well, 3 more, isn't there? There's 3 apparently.
Potentially.
May 5th,
Who knows?
July, and then
It
1
changes every
September.
time the true mean comes back at inflation. The reality is inflation is going to be up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's coming. What people don't realize is the way interest rates work, it's actually not really relative to property. And everyone thinks it does. It's relative to that's the most expensive thing in your life. So if you want to understand why interest rates go up and down, that when the inflation's getting out of control, you increase the interest rates to increase your biggest expense, to stop discretionary spending.
Right. Okay.
And to pull inflation under control. And when you need to stimulate the economy because inflation's not growing fast enough and the economy is about to stall, you lower interest rates, which makes everyone spend, which makes, it stimulates that economy.
Right.
So that's why interest rates go up and down. And the fact is inflation is going up because of what's occurred and will continue to occur. We are probably going to do a very good job with the RBA in controlling that. I actually really like who's in there at the moment and the way they go about it. It doesn't feel good to your hip pocket. It sucks, but it is a long-term approach to where this is going to end up.
Everything's happening at the moment. Everything, like, it's pretty scary what's happening. It's quite terrifying. And
It's making people nervous.
100%. Because
But the thing is,
if you think about it, if there are 3 rate rises coming in, especially for homeowners who are already capped out of their mortgage,
Yeah.
like they're stressed out like shit, we're gonna be homeless in by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like they can't afford the repayments.
Yeah.
So
It's a tough time. Like, people blaming investors for their housing crisis. It's a multitude of things, right? It's not investors. It's not just the construction supply constraint. It's everything, all in one big milkshake of problem. Okay,
Yeah.
and as it progresses, this is where smart investors, like when I went through, this is where smart investors are about to kill it, because when I went through COVID, I was in tune, but not fully, and I quickly realized how an economic crisis of any form works and how to be on the right side of it. So then when this one sort of came up, I knew what I knew, and I was like, oh, there are few opportunities in life where things like this occur. And it sounds horrible, but never let a good crisis go to waste. I can choose to be on the right side of it or the wrong side of it, and I just choose not to be on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use inflation to my advantage. All right. Interest rates are a cost of business. They're not the end result.
okay.
And if it's in your personal name, it's tax deductible through negative gearing. You're probably going to have some changes to it as well, but it's a cost of business. Say I could give you a property and you were to make $200,000 off it, but it cost you $600 every 2 months more now because of the interest rates. Would you rather $100K or not do it at all because it's going to cost you in
Exactly.
the year
100 grand.
maybe
obviously.
$3,000?
Yeah.
I'll take the $100K
Yeah.
over the $3,000. So interest rates is a cost of business. It's not the end result.
Okay.
It is. You have to be genuine about whether that holding cost is going to push you too far. And yields aren't what they were because rents don't grow at the same rate as what the property price does. Property prices are driven by demand every weekend that there's sales or every day that there's sales. Rents grow yearly. Okay, so that's why yields are compressed very quickly.
Yep.
As prices go up, the rents don't grow to match it. But what's about to change in CGT is going to be the worst thing that ever occurred for renters. And that sucks. Like,
Right.
I don't say that with any form of joy, but you look back to every event, 2007, COVID, you go back into the 90s, you go back into the 70s, high inflation periods, COVID, not COVID, oil crisis back then as well. It's not like this is unknown territory. We've actually been through all this. There's a few things that are adjusted different, but history actually leaves trails, and if you look for them, it's pretty obvious what to do. So use inflation to your advantage, okay? And that's by buying an asset that moves with inflation, because your savings are going backwards very quickly.
Yeah.
But interest rates are just a cost of doing business. And a smart investor's already in tune for that.
Yeah, okay.
It's a lot of investors or everyone who's over that little hurdle of, it's going to cost me a little bit more. It's like, well, if it's going to cost you a bit more, but you're going to make X in the long run. And again, I'm not talking short term, I'm talking long run.
Yep.
I would still rather do that. But you got to be motivated enough to understand what you're doing, get into it, because now's one of the best times for buyers to come in and just have less competition than they've had the last 2 years.
Definitely.
Still firm competition. Like, we're not just getting clean sweep,
Yeah.
100K under market value. Like, we're not seeing that anywhere.
Yeah, it's not under market. It's just it's not as obvious that there's not as many buyers at the moment.
We're seeing under market vals, like where we're buying well under market. Typically when people are wanting to pick a particular path of sales strategy, and I won't sort of go into what that is, but they're not looking for the biggest exit. They're looking for a transition into something else, and it's about being smooth on that.
Yeah.
So they still feel they're happy with the result, and they're very good deals actually. They're fluent for both parties.
That's good. Yeah. I suppose that makes sense because with mine, I was like, I don't really care what I sell it for as long as I can get the property that I want next.
Yeah.
And they line up financially. So, you know, I understand that aspect of it. When you were saying about like the concerns for obviously tenants and how you were saying, you know, that happened in COVID, and that's an interesting point to make because, again, I read a lot of people being quite angry at investors because they were blaming them for the hikes. And maybe there was some people that were taking advantage at the beginning, but once all the legislation came in, it was just more a case of trying to kind of make sure that it was a fair amount that they were going up, because a lot of people don't have 20 properties. They're just our mums and dads that wanted to buy one investment property for retirement, so they had to match that price. So, you know, what do you think is going to happen now for them, you know?
See, like there's always complaint if your situation isn't great, and I get that. But there aren't enough rental properties. So,
Correct.
you know, owner-occs don't buy the rental properties. Investors buy the rental properties, which also typically have an owner-occ. So you need more supply of investors. Now you're trying to stop investors from buying by the CGT changes. And the remaining stock that's left, you know, what's the strategy to avoid the capital gains? Don't sell. Don't sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in a certain time
Hold
frame,
hold it the way through. I'll hand my stuff on to my son. If you got to sell and pay tax, it's good. It means you've made money. If you're paying tax, it means you've won, right? Like it's just a cost of doing business, right?
That's right.
But that's what I'm hearing with a lot of people. It's just like the buy and hold of a couple of years ago. That's going to lock in strong, which means less places will actually even go from owner-occ to investor. We already have a housing crisis. Supply is going to slow down because money is more expensive and building costs are going up. All this does is hurt the bottom end.
Yeah.
Because even when you're talking about what's it like for us as investors to buy into the new world, post CGT changes, that only affects you if you sell. You can equity strip the whole way along the way.
It's only if you sell.
All that money. Like, that's the thing people don't get. Like, I don't make the money when I sell it per se, like you do.
Yeah.
But I could equity strip that property along the way and keep on buying and never hit my CGT event.
Even then,
you know what I
if
mean?
you do, even if you did hit it, when you look at what, like by the time you sell and what that actually looks like, again, we're making it sound like it's such a horrific thing. Same with like stamp duty. I mean, my property, I bought it for $1 million, I'm selling it for $2 million. Like straight away, I've made $1 million. Like that's brilliant, amazing. And I'm paying like $65,000 in stamp duty to get the next one.
Yeah.
I didn't even think, like I understand that's a big amount, and it's a big amount for me too, don't get me
100%.
wrong.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of making $1 million, I didn't even look at that. May as well have been $2. Like you don't see it as, and I would imagine capital gains is going to feel exactly the same if you've been holding something for 20 years.
Well, the thing is too, these are fully legal. Like this isn't tax avoidance; it's just tax minimization in the right way. In your CGT, you can redirect a large sum into your super. Okay, so like I was only looking at an accountant's post this morning. And then one of his clients, they had a $200,000 CGT. It ended up that they paid no CGT.
Yeah,
There's other strategies around that, and that's why people come to myself and other business partners that I work with, because there's strategies. I don't care what the rules are, just put them in front of me, and I'm going to work out how to make the most of them.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of investors are moving to. It's like, what's the new rules? And we've all been talking for 3 months about, okay, how do we go about it now? What's the right structure to do that in? I think the quality of an asset is more important than ever if you're selling or buying, because if you are buying for long term now, and you may not sell in any time soon because of CGT changes, having a good asset that you can hold on to for the whole period, that's in a very good owner-occ sought after area, that is going to be quite important. So average assets, and the banks are derating a few of those too. Like you're seeing a couple of investment spots that I haven't personally bought in, but others are, and they're being moved to like category 3. So like if you could previously buy there with a 90% loan value ratio, now they will not let you buy there unless it's 80% loan value ratio.
Okay.
See a lot of controls in trust being tightened up, lenders who are even lending in trust at the moment. There's a lot of changes in the banking system, and it's changing daily. Lenders every time you have to check again who's doing what and who's changed their policy on this.
Sure.
I think it's crazy when you listen to the things that you say, and we were talking about this before we even started the podcast, and I think we spoke about it last time and we keep touching on it, but how we weren't taught this stuff in schools.
Yeah.
And just listening to you, I'm like, God, like I would never be able to do this on my own, like ever. Like it's a shame really that we can't, and thank God though that like you found this ability to understand it and then explain it to other people. And I think this is why it's so important that you're willing to even talk about this, and part of what your business structure is, because like people would be making so many mistakes, and now I can see why the fear is there, because I suppose you explaining it, I'm like, oh, I actually feel a lot better, because I was kind of on the media, like I was trying not to be, but when it's there in your face all the time.
The thing is, it's not even in your face, it's your reality. It's every conversation you're having. It's the whole piece. So we help buyers who are struggling with time. They've done all the research and they still can't buy. They've done more research and now they feel more overwhelmed than they did prior. They don't want to get a bad location. Their mate said this, and they're just overwhelmed. And like, we just turn that chaos into clarity, right? Very clear plan as to why we're doing it and what we're doing. If you were trying to win a marathon, I would go and engage the help of someone who is really good at doing that. That's like, I love buying cheat codes. I will pay anyone for the cheat code. I don't have the time to go figure it all out myself. There are skills I like to learn myself, but like coaching, if someone coaches me, I'm blindly compliant. I'm engaging you.
Yeah, because they're
coach
there
me
on
on
the
this
whole way.
topic. You're good at what you do, hence why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm blindly compliant to it, because
100%.
that's what I want. You got a cheat code. I don't have to go through all the bullshit. I can just get that cheat code.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of buyers that come to me, it's the same thing. It's just like, just give us a cheat code, sort this out for me, do it with integrity, and make sure I'm in a good network. And a lot of the time, people just want that support to know. They actually a lot of the time know a bunch of the information. But with property, it's the 1%ers and the 10%ers that make a massive difference, because it's the negotiation skills. It's the valuing the property correctly. It's understanding what the drivers are. Like, you would be perplexed as to how many people think the wrong drivers are the right drivers. Like, oh, there's a heap of new development coming out here. That's awesome for the area. It's like, no, that means there's a ton of supply coming to the area. Particular spots it is, because the land's so sought after. When they do a release, there's 100 people trying to buy 4 houses. That's a different art. But you know, when people go, I'm going to buy in this area because it's building out, it's going to keep on going. It's like, so when you buy your $800,000 property and there's also 50 more off the plan brand new, do you think they'd buy yours or they'd buy theirs? Like, I never even thought of that. It's like just the fundamentals of life, supply, demand. If the supplies outweighs the demand, the value goes down.
Goes up.
Demand outweighs the supply, the value goes up. So
with everything. It's
Well, it's the
literally
same
everything.
with COVID. I mean, did you ever go and try and buy a house like during COVID? Did you go to an open home?
I bought in COVID.
Yeah, so I bought in COVID too, and I was I was telling Reese about it, and I was like, we would be like 40 people in front of us, like we were at a music festival, and the agent would be checking us in, and then we'd have to wait.
Had your mask on?
Yeah, and we had to
one.
like wait for 20 minutes to like get in, because they could only let a certain amount of people in, and it was like that. Like, that's just a whole other world, and that's what it was like. And no wonder by the time you got your chance in, the agent was like, oh, it's sold already. Like, they'd basically done the contract by the time you hadn't even made it into the line. Like, it was wild. I don't think a lot of people understood what that was like. And it's a perfect example of the difference of...
If you go back to the 70s and you look at what happened during the oil crisis in the 70s, so from start to the end, when inflation peaks, things become unaffordable. So what the government tries to do is they try to lift wages, right, to help people pay, which basically, I had a rant the other day online, which was a fun one, and it was about the government saying, we're lifting this rate, minimum wage. It's not the government that's paying for that minimum wage lift, it's business owners paying for that minimum wage lift. And that minimum wage being lifted means they get more taxes off those dollars that come through. And I'm like, what you're doing is screwing business owners who are currently shitting themselves. The world's got more expensive. They don't know if their clients are going to pay. I think it's horrible. But if you just go back to what's already happened in history, the high oil prices, wages rise, currency gets debased, property values just soared, because it's relative. It's the thing, everything sort of always maintains this relative relationship. So if you're debasing the currency further, property prices are going to go up because inflation helps property more than anything else.
So it's just a matter of time for another property spike.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but there will be another property spike.
Don't know when, but
No, and it's simply based off inflation economics.
Yeah.
The timing of that will be what it'll be, but I'm not buying a property to get the result tomorrow. I'm buying that property to get a result for a very long time. Affordability is still always going to be a problem, but that's why I say, the wage increase will come, which naturally sort of has every single time.
Yeah.
Look at how much more people got paid during COVID. Like it just kept on going.
I think we're noticing now people going down in their offers a little bit. Like their prices are sort of.
That's a serviceability based thing.
depending
I think
on
that's what we think
Yeah.
because of the interest rates, and that is true. It goes up to 5%. You lose whatever that was on your pre-approval. What does it end up being?
25 grand.
25 grand.
Yeah.
So you lose that. So it keeps happening, but then we're still going up. So it's like, is that gonna like plateau at some point? Are we gonna see that sort of level out because of that, or not?
If you want to know where the most money will be made in property in the next 3 years, it's the most affordable pockets. So if you asked me like 5 years ago, do I buy units or townhouses? No, I was a fundamentalist, just normal standard houses.
Yeah.
I bought a property for 200K, a unit in Woodridge. That is now worth 630 in recent sales, which is just wild.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's only
hitting $1 million in
couple of years.
Yeah.
But where you're seeing right now, when times like this occur, affordability, so that those people who wanted to buy higher, it's too expensive for them now, they get knocked down and they're fighting here. And then you still got the people who are trying to get into the market. So it all comes to this spot of affordability, and it creates so much drive and demand on that. So as the interest rates knock people out of that price range, they come back down. These people are still trying to get into it. That's where you're
And that's where
the
we're
most
seeing
success.
it. Under $1 million, we're seeing we can move things pretty easily.
So we had a townhouse in Eden's Landing, just a standard 3-bedroom,
Yeah.
renovated though.
It was
it was nice.
Yeah.
Most recent sale in there, and the highest sale price was $751, and we got it under contract in one open home for $760.
Yeah.
9 people through 8 offers.
Yeah.
So,
Like, still
but then
strong.
other people that had property over $1 million had nothing come through, and we were noticing that it was definitely the under $1 million that was doing that.
Well, it knocks off the top. Interest rates knock off the top level first because of just the stretch of affordability. Like when they're factoring in your serviceability and the multiplier, like it has a big effect the further out that number gets. It knocks it off by 100, 200 grand quite quickly. Whereas that range in the middle is just going to be driven. That's also where the most opportunity is to buy that stock above it, because if you've got a $600,000 unit in Woodridge and you've got an $800,000 house in another area, that's not relative. This has to bounce away from that to be relative to the value.
Yeah.
So there's 2 opportunities there. There's going to be a ton of demand in the affordability pocket, naturally, and then there's going to be a ton of opportunity in the just above the affordability pocket, where people just want to get up to that. There's a real sweet spot. Like I'm not buying anything big end of town. I'm not buying 5-bedders, big blocks, unless it's specifically for a person who wants that for their personal owner op.
Okay.
But that spot just above the 4-bedder with a little bit more land and maybe a subdivision potential in future or greenfield, we're having a field day there.
Yeah. I can
Well, I
imagine.
mean, if you've got any buyers for a subdivision or
Yeah,
block, we've got one.
subdivision, Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Beanley.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing that we've noticed as well with buyers is because they're getting pushed out and they're losing their pre-approval, even if they're still in that window where they are in that higher price. If you, again, go back to COVID, you'd walk into a place and there's a fan falling out of the ceiling and you're like, I'll still pay top dollar because, whereas now people are walking in at that higher price
Picky.
and we're noticing they're going, there's a tiny spot on that wall and there's like some slight dripping from that tap. And the list is like this and you're like, Jesus, like how did they even see that in 5 minutes? Like they're being a lot pickier with where they're putting that money if it is in that higher bracket. It's not a bad thing, but it's definitely there.
I like it because it's actually a bit more balanced market, like in equaling out in that sense. And I actually think that's a very good thing for both sides. It shouldn't be too far one way
Yeah.
because it's out of control really when it's one or the other.
Yeah.
But when it is that spot, there's like a very mutual value is determined, clearly agreed, and I like that side of it. Don't get me wrong, I want property growth, but I also don't want the world to pop and bust.
Yeah.
So like, good times can't last forever.
No.
They can't just keep growing at astronomical rates.
No, exactly. It can't be blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
In the
for
last,
sure.
2 years, every appraisal we've gone into, we're like, in 3 months, it could go up 50K.
Yeah.
So we're like, this is going to be invalid. We weren't having that conversation 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, we were like holding things to 10 years, making 200K and being like, huzzah,
Yeah.
200K. You know, 2 years and we've made 600K. It's wild.
A lot of young people
not
too
gonna
have
do
never
that.
lived in those times.
Well,
like
that's
Brisbane
true.
sitting
Yeah.
flat for a long time. Everywhere's
No.
sitting flat. But there is a very different state around the world right now with migration demand, and it is a very new world. You can look at the past for leaving crumbs and then do a comparison. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange time in how that will proceed. Like, you know, we help buyers who don't have the time to really get into it, and they know they want to. Like, all of our buyers want to buy. But they just don't want to make a mistake. They're time poor. They've done research, but they still can't decide. We just effectively do it this simple way. We work out where you're at. We look at a strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to be. We put in those buffers in place as well. And then we just start building out not how to buy your next one property, how we're going to buy the next 3. Are we going to have the service buffers in place? Are we going to be able to use this to get to the next one? And every property has a purpose of being in that portfolio as you're building that out. So really, we just try to take all that away from the buyer, make sure they've got a very clear plan, and then we just go in and execute.
I don't know if you want this in the podcast, so we can get rid of it if you do, but I've never actually asked this. How does it work with your business model? Like, are you like a broker? Do you get paid when you get the settlement? Like, how does that work for them?
Yeah.
Like, because that's a lot of knowledge that you're giving basically for free to
Yeah.
people right now.
Yeah.
And it still obviously is way too overwhelming. Like, I'd need to strip that back, probably watch it 17 times.
Just sitting here like,
Yeah.
But like, and I do understand
Yeah.
a lot of it, but as you said, that's where you come in and give the cheat sheet. It's more kind of getting that into balance and giving me, because it is my biggest asset.
Yeah.
As we know, property is our biggest asset. So if we're even slightly concerned or can't get our head around something,
Yeah.
we definitely are not going to pull the trigger, and that's where you come in.
The reason I only work with a few select clients at any given time, like we just cap it, is because I can't teach you, like what I'm saying now is very overwhelming, and it is, but once you start getting the basics of it, you start to, the intrigue kicks off in you. Like, that's what I love about my buyers. Like, once I have that time with them and we're able to work through the fundamentals of what we're doing and why, understand the drivers, it's so cool to see them evolve from there on. And if I work with too many people, you can't give that one-on-one time. Like, I am working with a 70-year-old grandmother, and I'm working with a 21-year-old first home buyer.
Yeah, okay, amazing.
And the range is unreal. Like, she's lived a lot of life, she's seen a lot. And this guy's like, man,
Fresh.
I know what I don't know, and I know that you get results.
Yeah.
Every single person I've spoken to has just gone, dude, just don't even try. Just go to him. And it's more, he just wants, not just handheld along the way, he just wants support. And his family, his parents, you know, beautiful parents, they just wanted support. And I will spend the time to explain the why. Because property isn't this magic art. It is in a sense, but once you understand drivers, economics, and value, like once you understand everything, you're sort of just really going, well, what's your scenario? Like this thing of buyer's agents going, I've got one strategy and this will work for everyone. No. If you've
Everyone's
got $1
different.
million in the bank and you're 50 and your investment horizon's 10 years before you're retiring, or you're 21, well, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't have one strategy that fits everyone.
Yeah.
So we develop a strategy for every single buyer who we're working with. And the strategy evolves every time you do a purchase. You know, we do something and then the world changes. Okay, the lending rules are going to change. How we go about structuring it. And we just keep on evolving with that strategy wherever that goes. But one size does not fit all when you're buying property for somebody.
100%.
Everyone has their own personal circumstance. We need to understand that. I ask you some of the most random questions in our onboarding too. Just really want to get an understanding of your risk appetite, the way you view the world, because I've got to do what I'm comfortable with doing for you and also understand what is just not aligned with you. And I've then got to put the time into you to teach you about those areas that you don't know about to get you up to where I need you to be.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
I want to be on the top of the mountain with people when I'm older.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love doing it. All the people I'm buying for, they become my best friends. I love it. And
That's awesome.
I want to be at the top of the mountain one day talking with them all. I don't want to be there by myself going, hey, I built this property portfolio and I've got no one else. I didn't pass on any of my knowledge. I didn't do anything good for somebody else. It's awesome. Like watching a business owner too, who, like I said earlier, a business owner who feels stuck to their business, they haven't done the super stuff, transitioning them to buying, like one buyer, we just settled on another of his 2 weeks ago. We bought his one. That's up 280,000 in 6 months on his first one.
Amazing.
He made more money in 6 months than he had made out of his business in 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And then now we've gone into another and we'll keep progressing with him about that. He didn't even know what stepping away in the future could possibly look like. Like the amount of pressure he felt to just keep the family, income coming through and keep all these guys employed. Now he's got that alternative. He's got a whole new passion about his own business again because he knows this isn't my only path in life now.
I think it's a different era as well, because if I look at my dad, he's been in business, his own business, for 45 years, never paid his super because he went in at 15. He started what he was doing and he still does it now and he's 67.
Yeah.
And it's like that he didn't know then, by the time he learnt that he should be doing super, it was so far into the future that he was like, I'm just going to have to hope that my inheritance is enough. And that in itself is terrifying.
Yeah.
And, now like we're buying property and he's with me. So I'm like, it's good, but still he's got to retire at some point, and we have to make that
it's a
decision.
hard thing.
Yeah. And that would be terrifying. Like I'm scared enough as it is, like reaching 40 thinking, God, I don't have a lot of super. Like, there's still so much that I have to do career-wise. An asset would be things, that's the only thing that I can see would be a good trajectory. And a lot of these people didn't learn that.
If you're a business owner and you're not paying money into if you're a business owner and you're not paying money into your super, it's stupid. And simply this is the reason why I'm very mathematical. It's not emotional. This is just math to me. When I put it as a deduction into super, it's 15% tax. And you can use your carry forward contribution from the last couple of years, right? Why would if I have an opportunity to pay 15% tax instead of 25, 30, 40s, why wouldn't you just do it?
Yeah.
Like, because that's your money for future too,
Yeah.
right? And I see super, I don't give financial advice at all, but if a person is wanting to buy property in their super, if you hold that property through to retirement age, the capital gain and the income that comes from it after that is tax-free.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In the current environment.
Can you do that though if you're already like nearing the end? Like if you were to use your super sort of closer to the end, like let's say Dad did have super.
Yeah, you could.
So you could still do it then, even though you're holding it for 3 years or something then it's retired time. Like it's
if you hold it through and transition into retirement, then yes, it applies. As you're getting to that end point, that's one area I won't ever give advice on because like timing exactly what you need as an income and where it goes from there is an art form that a financial planner needs to do. But
so a financial planner would be the person. Yeah.
It's SMSFs are like, if I describe SMSFs as like a side quest property portfolio. So I'm building my main portfolio, trusts, and then I've got my SMSF, and it's just this side quest that
still has its
on the
value
side.
though. If you can,
and when
do
I'm
it.
60, I'm going to get all the benefit of that.
Yeah.
And
okay.
like a school teacher of mine, Kim Hill, is amazing. She's my dance teacher and maths teacher, and I'm actually talking to her next week about a property for her son.
Oh, how cool!
Her partner had a gentleman say to him, don't ask me why, just put money into super forever. And he said that to him at 18. And she gave me that same advice when I was probably 18. And I just did it, blindly compliant to people I respect.
Yeah.
And best thing that I ever did. I maximized it every single year. And then we're in a spot now where we use that SMSF money to go and buy a property, attach that to leverage and keep that going. But if you're a young person in the world right now, do it simply just because of the tax benefit. Like if you're going to pay 30-something% tax, that's 15%. You just made 15% in the gap.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, longer into life, you'll end up on, this is very rude, but you'll end up on life support from the government, which I believe I call the pension life support. Because it's like just enough for you to survive, but not enough to move, to live, to do anything. Like
That's
it is
right.
just keeping you alive.
Food,
and that's
man.
not a life that I want.
No.
Or anyone I know would want. Right.
God, no.
So I'm not hedging my bets for the government to help me out later. I'm all good.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out myself.
You're making
Money thieving
plans
dogs.
now.
Between now and then, yeah.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up?
How
I
are
mean,
you guys seeing the sales market at the moment?
oh,
I mean, we got a good amount of listings. Like they're moving pretty like as what we expected them to be.
yeah,
I think
the
we
price
have had
point's
a
a big
lot of
thing.
expectations that have been too high.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
just the frustrating part that we were saying at the start. Like, if you get an agent going in before you, you know,
giving you that price.
to give them the hopes and dreams to the sellers, and then we come in and win the listing over them. You know, we can't just say, "Oh, that's unrealistic," because but then they'll be like, "We're not going with you. We'll go with someone who thinks they
It's trying
can."
to find that balance where
Yeah.
you're giving them hope that you can get it, and you never like. And we
No, we
don't have
never
a crystal
outline, no.
ball, so it's not like we're saying a flat no. You know, generally they're not hugely over. Like we're not talking a mil over. We're talking a couple of $100K, and you just never know or haven't known in this market how much it's going to jump and emotional.
But you've been like that always in the industry, telling the real price point.
Always.
And it's a shit thing for you guys to pick it up after it's all gone to stuff with somebody else, with
That's
another
correct.
agent. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're picking it up in a not so great spot, and it's actually
Yeah.
harder for you even to get the first number you told them after. But
It's a
Well,
lot
we
harder
had
with
that as
everything
well.
because
you got to be realistic.
Yeah, like
We
we're
had-
realistic, they appreciate it, and then yet when you get to it, I think there's always still hope that you're going to get it because they then trust you, but they trust you, and they still have that expectation for the agent that they didn't trust that they've moved on from.
Well, deals are crashing
It's
anyway
hard
because the bank
balance.
values don't stack up.
That's
to these
exactly
over.
right. And trying to explain that, we're like, it's not going to unless it's a cash buyer, but then they're like,
Yeah.
we'll just get a cash buyer. I'm like, do you understand?
It's like a
Like how
unicorn.
rare that is.
Yeah, it's like
it's
a
so
unicorn.
Yeah.
unrealistic. And, you know, that's the problem because you really want to help these people and we genuinely care. Like we're dealing with their assets. I think you have to care to be in this industry.
I think
Like, you're
people
not gonna
sometimes
last.
forget as well, like, we always strive to get the most money. We don't want to, you know, tell you, no, it's not worth that much. Like, shit, if it's out there, we'll get it for you. Because, like, think about it. We get you more money, we get paid more.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's how it works.
It's relative.
You factor that
Exactly.
in. Like, yeah, that's
Like,
it's not just
and-
out of the kindness of
There
our
is
hearts
nothing
as
extra
well.
incentive
Like,
for you to make that
Oh,
number
exactly.
the most.
Oh, exactly.
right?
Like, we'll extract every single dollar we can. But then again, if the market's speaking how it's sitting, we can't force that hand. Can't do that at all.
Funny you talk about cash buyers. I saw one where cash buyer, there's 20K difference, and they wanted the one that was non-cash buyer. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, and this was a price point that isn't an easy price point for a sale.
Yeah.
20K cash done tomorrow, effectively.
Yeah.
It's only $20,000.
It's like,
But
I know that deal fell as well, fell over, and I don't know where it sits at now. I know it's not sold.
wow.
yeah.
And I'm just like, you guys have one too that was
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
And you're just like, cash buyers are unicorns.
Yeah.
Now,
they're
still
unicorns.
be respectful in what you're willing to take as your price as a
Of
seller.
course,
But
yeah.
this is your current state view. Your future state view is whatever you're dreaming about now. And that guy can just go boom, and you are currently in that view. Get on with it.
And so
Because
much
now
of
it's
them are
sitting there
subject to
dragging you
sales.
down.
Majority
Like-
of the sales above $1 million
Have been
have
subject
been
to
subject to
sales.
sales.
Yeah.
And
And you put
that's-
that
yeah,
in,
it's-
and that's scary in itself because I mean,
You
mine's
outline
under
the one.
contract with a subject to sale. That one's under contract with a subject to sale. On the other end, I'm now in a contract with a subject to sale of mine. There's literally 4 properties that now have to sell.
Yeah.
And if one falls over, we all fall over.
Yeah.
And that's really scary because even when you're talking about contracts, I mean, you can
Well,
imagine
slots you
how
out
they're
from other
written.
buyers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
100%.
there's so many
Finance
rules
clauses,
and
everything in
all
there.
the
You
clauses,
got
all the
sunset
special
clause as well
conditions.
sometimes with
And
the
you're
ones
all
that we're in
just
now.
holding off. And, you know, if you don't know the other agent, like if you've got 4 different agents, thankfully, we're all sort of in-house on this deal. So there's all the agents are in this agency when it comes to my own. But if it wasn't, like that would be a shit show. Like,
Well, we spoke about this earlier. 5% deposit buyers at auction are getting screwed. And I mean like losing their deposits and everything.
Yep.
And for those that don't understand why, when you go to an auction, there's usually a 20% deposit and it's unconditional after the sale, right? And they're coming as a 5% deposit with their lending I don't know if anyone's told them you can't go to these unless you negotiate that to be agreed at the start, which typically the seller isn't wanting anyway.
No.
So they're going and bidding at auction, winning it,
it.
having to pay a 20% deposit.
Not having it.
literally
Straight away, as
immediately.
soon as
Yeah.
they pay.
As soon as that's done.
Yeah.
And they've only got 5%. And and then it falls over and the seller's entitled to take that money.
But that's upsetting
It's
in itself
horrible.
that like they're going to these things. Like
Yeah.
the agent like really should have been able to screen that conversation first. You can't tell me that they haven't inquired, that they haven't had a
Yeah.
and like that in itself is so important for us to be doing.
But to the
And they
defense, exactly, and you guys are doing it, but when mum and dad jump in the car with the family and we go, we're taking our son who are trying to buy their first home, we're going to go to this auction, we really love this house.
Yeah.
They're not pre-planning.
No,
And
they're just
that's why a
going
lot
there.
of people use my services to go, how do we pre-plan this not to get this wrong? Like,
Yeah.
how do we just not go bad here?
I think too that I've noticed, like most other agencies push for auctions so hard, and like
We don't do them at all.
I despise of auction. I
No.
fucking hate auctions.
Yeah.
Excuse my
No.
French. Despise of them. They're
I
terrible.
actually liked them. Like I never had a problem with them.
Yeah.
But we just don't really do them here because we've got more
Good.
of that bidding system, which, is a lot
suck
clearer.
anyway. Like,
you don't do auctions in bear markets.
no,
No.
Dumbest
definitely
shit
not.
you could possibly do.
Thank you.
Because it's dumb as shit. And one of my mates out at Redlands, a freedom agent, he did auctions. He loved them, and he's very smart too. Quite quickly, he switched and went, "I'm not doing them anymore."
Yeah.
Because when it's a bear market, there's no emotional sentiment. Like the whole reason you have an auction is when it's a bull market, and a bull market means everyone's excited and the economy's great and everything's going well. Because emotionally, an auction puts pressure on a person. They pay over in the moment.
Yep.
When people and sentiment is negative, they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to, so they pull back.
Especially the time period too, because I remember if you get a first open home, you got to keep the buyers there for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the auction
And
campaign.
at the moment,
4 weeks.
it's
Yeah.
like 1 week and you're getting offers. Like, why would you then hold
Yeah.
them for
Yeah.
4
And like,
weeks?
so sorry, we can't, some obviously you can accept an offer prior to the auction, but most agents don't let that
That's
happen.
annoying in itself because like I've had that happen as well where as a buyer I've seen a company does only auctions, which I find extremely annoying,
Insane.
particularly in the market that I'm shopping in.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I want a price because I need a price
Yeah.
because a 200K difference means I'm buying it or not.
Yeah.
And even their comparables that they give are not actually comparable to what they want because then I find out that their expectations, like I went to one and I really liked, you came with me. Love the house. I wanted to, I was maxed at 1.6. All the comparables that I finally got after pulling teeth were at 2.1. And I was like, it's not even worth that. What the hell?
Yeah.
So I walked away. That property is still on the market to this day. I saw it 8 months ago. It
Yeah.
is still on the market. They called me about 6 months later and they said, we're letting it go for 1.6. And I was like, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I was emotionally connected when I got there. If you'd taken my offer then, I would have done it. And then on the back end of that, if you go to auction, you do a first one and you get a great offer, well, that annoys me as well because then I thought I had time to come and see it at the next weekend
Yeah.
and then next minute it's under offer. So
You
it
know-
does it puts people off.
It does. And I don't feel auctions are very, in Melbourne and Victoria, auctions, especially more Melbourne in particular, auctions are everything. Perth, yeah. But you've got to sort of work to what that state style does. Queensland's not really, I don't believe, an auction market unless it's a specific asset.
I think it's depending on the asset. Like Gold Coast, for example, it's just down the road. They predominantly do auctions because of the price point and
They do
where
have
it
a
is.
higher price point.
Yeah.
It's a bit
Yeah.
different.
And it's because people have all the pockets for
or
it
if
down
it's
there.
a really low, out here, if it's,
it's a
dilapidated,
shithole.
But again,
know.
go to the area, you're playing ego. As an auctioneer,
Yeah,
you're playing
You're
people's
playing guys with
egos on the
big
Gold
pockets.
Coast more than anything.
exactly.
All right, smart guys are looking at what cars they're rocking up in on the way in, and even the guys who aren't rocking up in nice cars can have deep pockets.
Yep.
But Gold Coast is a whole different environment like that.
100%.
There's some really good BAs who work specifically in that area that I love. And
Brisbane too.
yeah, and
Brisbane has the same thing.
you know what I find really strange is in Logan, you guys, I've seen a lot of, not yourselves, but the sales side of Logan doing a lot of auctions. And I get for a long time you could do an auction and everyone would sort of run these numbers and it was getting a higher price. I've been to a couple just to watch, knowing that they will not go. The numbers have been ridiculous that they're seeking, and it actually shows the value of areas around Logan, because what you're picking up in those areas comparably
Yeah.
for what these guys, actually what they're passing in at. Like I saw one, I won't say where or the agent, but I saw one pass in at 1.2, and I was like, we said we're walking away at 1.15. It was a development potential site, but they wanted 1.45, and I'm like, how is that? That's not 1.45.
No.
Like in other areas, you can still buy a dev site with a home that's somewhat renovated and do it. And I'm talking a couple minutes from the water. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I get the access to the motorway and I get all those things, but like,
I mean, we
long-term
worked
value.
for an agency though, and like the principal was like borderline like peer pressuring. Like if you didn't bring on 2 auctions per week, you'd be fired. Like it was like,
Wow.
this is what we do. Every meeting was just based around failures. Like
Yeah.
it was who's got the auctions. If you don't have it, then what are you doing? Like convert the private treaties, and I'll give you, incentives. I'll give you gifts. I'll give you these, and you'll become my favorite. It was so like that. And I still look at that company and as a whole even, and I know they're all franchise, but as a whole, I notice that it's probably trickling from down.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you see it. I don't know how much of that we should put in, but like, it's true. Like that's why they're still trying to do it, because they're being pushed into it.
Oh, and
it's
the thing is,
they're
like,
not
They want
working though.
people want unconditional at times too.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's smart at the
Well,
moment.
No,
at all.
shorten the fight.
Yeah.
Like explain how finance works. Explain how you can use,
that's-
your leeway. Like you can get the solicitors to give you that extra 5 days. Like,
Yeah.
there are ways to make it sound like it's not as intense. You've got to have an extra 5-7 days.
Yeah.
On top of now this first open home. Like it's not, in the grand scheme of things, you've held this asset for how long? We've got a great result. You've just got to wait 7 days. We've still got inquiry. Like, I just think that it's so easy to deter people from just, I must have an unconditional.
Yeah. I don't think
I
it's
don't know.
unconditional can fall over these days too. Just
Oh,
you
yeah.
can
Correct.
chase people.
They
You can
can.
chase people, but it goes legal, and it's
Yeah.
just a problem. Your
Yeah.
house still isn't sold.
That's
so,
right. Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I mean, some of these agencies don't push auction, don't push to train them in auction training.
Well, that's true in
Like,
itself. I mean,
as you said,
it's an art form.
yeah, like-
You've got to understand it really well to pull it off.
It's actually how you do your prep. Like for the sales guys who are doing auctions, they're not running the hammer or doing the
No.
auctioneering. So they've actually got to know how to get the most people there, not
Correct.
have that come across as desperate, show the value, show the comparables, put the time in. But yeah, I don't know.
Explain
I
the
wouldn't
conditions
It
as
doesn't paint
well.
a good picture for us though, because when we have done training on how to get buyers there, it's always been cool. What's your budget? 700. It's going to have a 900K reserve. We're being taught the wording to get them there still. Oh, okay, well, you never know. Like, let's get you there anyway. And you're like, do I really have to? As people
waste of
that
time.
like as agents that want to be transparent, it didn't rub us the right way, and it's so hard to
different,
do
like,
that.
You guys with Chris and the All Properties group, like it's quite clear the way you guys operate too, and even from the BA space, we know how you guys work. Like, and it's a lot more simplistic to work with.
It is.
Because it's like, hey, I'm calling you, and I'm not going to waste the next 35 minutes of my life talking about. You're going to tell me this crazy number. I'm going to tell you that's ridiculous, and it's you guys are always. A little bit reserved, which is good because you're keeping your sellers' cards
a bit
close.
ambiguous.
Which makes us
It's
put in
fine.
the work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's just fluent to actually transacting on properly well. Like we could have a good property and just we abort it because the person that we're dealing with on the other side is just a waste of time.
That's right.
And I don't have time to waste right property. It comes and goes like that.
Yeah.
So if I can see this is going to be a drawn out waste of my time, great property, but
Excellent example of any buyer as well, because it's not just you,
Yeah.
it's a buyer in general. You don't want to be screwed around.
Yep.
You want to know, can you afford it or can't you?
Because
But
you waste
again-
that time.
But then it's that annoying part of, the game. Like I can see on people on Facebook, I belong to like property sales groups and stuff, and everyone's like getting angry and whinging about us not putting prices on stuff. And I'm like, you created that though as buyers. Like we get the annoyance. I'm a buyer myself. I hate it.
Yeah.
But we created that monster. We created the agents that do that, because unfortunately, if we give you the price the owners want, which generally isn't the realistic end price, it's what they're hoping for. We give you that. You don't kind of take it and go, okay, well, hey, I'm like 100K below. I'm still going to check it out. You go, oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then the problem is our owners want as many people there, and we want as many people there, because no one knows walking around that open who's got what. You might not be anywhere near it.
The strategy is wrong when people, if you're a seller and you're wanting this hopeful, crazy price, you've got the complete wrong strategy, because for your agent, it's smarter for them to go, I'm going to put it this price, and you're not under quoting either. You're putting the realistic value, you get more demand, and then you get to work between those people to go, hey, there are 3 other options.
Yeah.
And that is where you can make the moves. You can't move them up to that point if they're not even in the game in the first place, because you're overshooting the mark.
That's what some owners don't understand. Like, because we've had some like, oh, why don't we put it at the price we want? I'm like, if we do that, you'll get no one to show up. There's no one for us to work with.
Yeah.
So what we do is we do it strategically. Yeah, we do it that just a little bit like, oh, that's not bad price for that property. Get as many people there as you can. They put offers in, and then they works on emotion.
Yeah.
From up there, that's when we do our jobs.
Yeah.
Negotiate to get you that one single price.
But your original price point is still in the target range of
100%. We're not underbidding in no way.
It's still in there, so it still comes into the filtered amount.
Like, I love seeing an overpriced property. I love it, and I get all this stuff sent to me, and I'm like, oh, that's stupidly overpriced. Reminder: call him in 2 weeks and offer him 100K less.
See?
Yep.
Yeah.
I literally do it, and I saw, a few. I love them, but an agent has to have an ego, right? But there's sometimes where it's through the roof. And the ones who are like that, and they're pumping that number because they just had good sale after good sale, and then the market turns. It's not even the market turning; it's just them offering unrealistic results, and that sort of gets checked. But those ones are where we're probably having the most success with as well. And then smart agents are quickly moving to that price point that we're talking about. Just this is a genuine valuation. People have a version of value that comes from a million different spots. Like a lot of sellers go, well, my neighbor sold for this, or my friend sold for that around the corner. Their house was shitter than my house. It's not how it works. Like everyone's dealing with the same material facts. Let's base it off that and proceed from there.
Exactly.
I think like historically, the best sale I've ever done in my whole career was a couple that had held a property for a long time. Unfortunately, she was unwell. So it wasn't a plan of they were like watching until they got the money that they wanted. It was more a case of, it's time, we've got to move it faster than expected. So they hadn't done appraisals on it. They didn't really know where it was sitting. They'd held it for so long. So when we gave them a price, expectation, it was a lot sort of...
we said, what was it, 680, wasn't it?
I think 650. We said, can we put it and we'll put it low, like offers over 650. And we tried to explain like that was the best way to get people through. But this time it wasn't any pushback. It was just like, yeah, we'd be stoked with 650. And in our heads we were thinking, yes, we might get 680. Like that was the comparables. So we got to market it so much lower than what we thought it would go for. And we did that.
It was run down. Like, turned into like 18 years.
It was unrenovated. It had issues. So we were like 650, offers over 650. And we did our first open home, and there was like over 100 people lined up. And this is only like last year, like mid last year. So it was after the COVID everything. And neighbors were coming out and going, we thought you were holding an event. Like, well, what was that? And we were like, we weren't even expecting that. 15 offers. They were coming through while we still were halfway through the open. We got it up to 750. Like within 10 minutes after the open home. That's what it was at. And
but your comparables
they
weren't
were literally
even...
crying.
No.
Yeah, it was the highest sale price in the suburb for a 4-bed, 1-bath. In the suburb, the last one was like 730 for a nicer property. So, and it was amazing that was like the way we said to do it. And they actually just blindly listened, and they were so easy to deal with. that's what we got them, and they literally were crying at the end. They gave us a higher commission rate than what we had signed
they
for.
did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they offered us
They
to get
came
more.
back and
I
offered
like
us a
these
higher
people.
commission.
Yeah.
Sound like
They
great
were
people.
honestly the
They were
best
nice.
They accepted
people.
the realistic value in the market at the
Yep.
time. You guys got them a great result, and
Because like, why wouldn't you want that?
Probably
You know,
that.
like have a realistic price in your head, and fuck, if we get more over that, then you're gonna be chuffed.
yeah,
So
Why
much
be
better.
depressed
Yeah.
and salty then you don't get what you want? You know what I mean?
People pull the numbers. People get frustrated with me when I'm telling them the value, and I'm like, hey, I'm unemotional in this. You have a huge. I'm not saying that this property isn't an amazing property. I'm just telling you, based on the market, this is where it lands and presents.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not personal about this.
No.
That's
No.
Literally why people use me, because I'm
Yeah.
not emotional about this.
They take offense.
It's
No,
math to me.
But then, I mean, I got grumpy last week at an open home.
Grumpy.
But no,
I've
but
seen it.
Wouldn't say
No, but,
grumpy.
like, we've got this beautiful property. I know that everything's been done professionally. They put their heart and soul into it. They're moving, and it is because of circumstances. And you know, it's presented immaculately.
It's a beautiful
It is a
home.
beautiful
Yeah.
home. There is nothing wrong with it. And he was just walking around, and I'm going, "What's going on?" Like everything was an issue, and I'm like, what is it? And we'd even told him 100K below because we were testing the market at this point. And he was like, oh, I just don't see where the value is. Everything's been done like, you know, unprofessional, this and that. And I was like, can you just get out? Like, please, like, this is clearly not for you. I think you need to like leave. Like
Yeah.
I was getting emotionally like, because I was frustrated for my owner, because I was like, I know how much they've done. I know how much they've spent. Everything's been done professionally, and you're having the nerve. And I got so angry about it. And he went downstairs and said to him, is this your house, is it? He's like, no, she's just the agent. But I was just so
God.
pissed because I thought, come on, mate. Like,
Yeah.
and I get it. Like, I get that there's that market value is there, but this was literally below the market value, and you still were picking it apart. Like, there's,
You do, like, as a buyer, where does that win you with the agent?
No,
Exactly.
like
Where
we
does
went
that
on
get
him through
you?
another open
Yeah.
home.
I'm not
All of
selling with you.
All of our stuff, it's all relationship based.
That's
Just shoot you in the
Every
foot.
single agent that I deal with, it's completely relationship based.
That's right.
And then we're like, oh, good luck trying to buy a house.
Yeah,
with a
good
fucking
luck.
attitude
we
like that.
don't want to work with you next because you're going to be the one that calls about the building and pest and
Yeah.
says like, there's a smudge on the wall and I want 30K off. We're not working with you.
Yeah.
You are not the buyer for us.
One thing too, another thing is that a lot of sellers don't want to do a building and pest before the property goes
No.
to market. I think it's quite stupid because if you hand over that building and pest and like you're buying it as is, knowing all of that exists,
Yeah.
that's a very smart way to do it because there's no negotiation from here on out.
We've had backlash on that though.
Yeah, and I know, and I understand why, because as a buyer too, I'll go, I want my own building and pest. I
Yeah.
don't trust yours.
Yep,
I
we've
get
had
both
that.
sides of
I
it,
think
right?
that's weird though, because I'm like, what building and pest guy in their right mind would risk fudging one for an agent? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how
And their
much of a
liability and everything.
relationship
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
their
Like
whole
you
job.
and I, like, yes,
Yeah.
we've got a good relationship, but as a buyer's agent, you're not going to do something that's going to make you lose your entire career. For me,
No,
it's not going to happen. So
I understand why, but there's an agent in a state.
It's in your armpit, sorry.
Well, yeah.
But-
There's an agent down south in Tassie, Lee Christmas, and that's the thing. He will not take your take your listing unless you will do a building inspection. And his strategy's smart. Like, I've transacted with him, and he's like, no, when we're negotiating, there's none of these other bullshit conditions which will make this whole thing fall over. You can get finance,
Yep.
and it'll be for this day. But
Yep.
other than that, you know what it is. You know what you're buying, and all these things that can undo a deal and waste all this time. And he's doing it, so that transactions happen more fluently. And like, he's quite known in the area for doing this thing and everyone thinks he's an idiot. I think it's one of the smartest things because when I go to
brilliant.
deal with him, yes, sometimes I do get my own building and pest, even still. Like in our finance period, I'll go, I'm going to get one just in case so we can look into a few things a bit further and understand them. But it's wonderful because it's already there. You know what you got, and it's not this dragged out process. Because for the sellers, if someone keeps on crashing due to building and pest, they found it out, they try to leverage you down. like that means your house is now sitting on the market.
I mean, I got one for mine and it was expensive because my property has 2 houses on it, but I got it and I didn't get it for buyers initially. I got it because I wanted to know pre-market what would come up and what I needed to fix up so that I could get top dollar, which in itself is a great strategy for an owner to do. And I did that and, you know, nothing really came up, which was great. And then when my buyer did purchase my property, he still wanted this ridiculously big building and pest time. And I ended up going back to him and saying, look, can I ask why you want this, because I've given you the building and pest. And he said, look, I bought a property, it had a building and pest on it, and when we ripped up the cut like floor, it was moving, there were so many termites. So then I understood the fear part of it, and I went, you know what, I'll give you that time. He ended up not using it, but I thought to myself, even if he did, anything that's already in my building and pest, if he then tries to come back and say, well, now I want 15K off, I'm going to say no, because it was already in mine. Whether they picked it up again, it's only if it was something new. And then, I get it. We'd have to come to the party. But so there's really no downside other than spending that little bit extra for your own peace of mind. I think it's important to have it.
A good thing to talk about the Brisbane market right now, everyone's like, is it topped? It is growing at a lower rate, but it's got so much legs in development over the next couple of years, like especially the next sort of 10 to 12 years. The amount of things we're seeing in infrastructure, like, I mean, everything from concrete plants being built, like everything. There's so much that's continuing.
Oh, I think that's us.
It has been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time.
Thank you.